Blair.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Lapid. I think it's a matter of regret for us that the Israeli government haven't been willing to talk to us, so we thank you for coming before us. Can I go back to something you said a moment ago about it's for the Israeli voters to decide? Unfortunately, I think people in Gaza can't wait that long. You this morning called again for the end to the war in Gaza. You've called for that many times. You've offered Netanyahu political cover for that. You've urged him to distance himself from extremists like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir. What needs to change before any election and change of leadership for Netanyahu to answer that call to end things in Gaza, to do a deal, to bring home the hostages and to stop the killing?
Well, the reason I've said it again this morning is because I said, well, he didn't want to do it while he was still trying to regain his political power after the tragedy of October 7th, that his name is written all over it. Now that he's on top after a very successful operation in Iran, he might change he might understand or relate to the idea that this is the right thing for the country. And you know what? It is also something that will be extremely popular to the people of Israel. So as you do in the opposition, you have the right idea and you push it, trying to make sure that in the moment it will become relevant, you'll be out there with the right call. So this is what we were trying to do. I think we have a better chance today for an agreement in Gaza, for which of course has to start with returning our hostages, than we had 12 days ago before the operation in Iran. I will discuss this, of course, with the Prime Minister and with the coalition in the future, not weeks but days.
And to go back to your original premise, I represent a very large Jewish community, and many of them have been obviously deeply traumatized by the pogrom on October 7th, but also deeply shocked by everything that's followed as well, and they worry deeply that Israel's international reputation has been deeply damaged by what's happened, not just in Gaza, but what's happening in the West Bank as well with settler violence. If you were Prime Minister tomorrow, what would change? What would change in terms of humanitarian access in Gaza, in terms of challenging the violence in the West Bank?
First of all, if I may use the example that is in front of me, one of the things I would have changed is you've said that the government refused to talk to you, and you thank me for being here. If I was the Prime Minister, I would have talked to you and the government would have talked to you. The Israeli government was way too busy in victimizing themselves instead of explaining to the world what is it that we do and what kind of enemy are we facing and what are the circumstances that leads to the tragedy in Gaza. And I tell you something more. They have neglected their duty, not only as a government, but also as human beings. And you've mentioned the Jewish congregation in your area. This is also has to do with Jewish morals, to say we are sorry for the loss of life in Gaza. We are sorry for every child that has died in Gaza. Children should not die in grown-ups' wars. And we're going to do our best in order to prevent this. And when it doesn't succeed, because we are fighting a horrible enemy in a very dense populated area, that is using his own children as human shield. But when it happens, we are so sorry about this, and our heart goes out for them, and we have to make sure we find ways to be helpful to them. And the reasons that our government has neglected their duty to say so is cynical and political in ways that I find hard to not only to relate to, but to forgive. You see, I tried not to attack my own government in the British Parliament, and couldn't do it because this is so emotional for us all. So this is one. And two, I would finalize a deal in Gaza a year ago. There's no reason on earth this is going on for 620 some days. Not to mention the fact that we are an island economy based on high tech, with an army that is based on the model of reserves, and therefore long wars is a very bad idea for Israel, even strategically, not only morally.